Are interviews an acceptable candidate selection tool? The short answer is yes, but it might be a little more nuanced than that, so let's discuss it a little bit. Do interviews work? Do they work for candidate selection? You know, this is a common question. The truth is that the interview is the most common type of candidate selection tool. Unfortunately, it can also be the least effective way to find the right candidate that will be the most successful in the role that you're hiring for. Having said that, the interview is probably here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So let's look at some strengths, let's look at some weaknesses of the interview, and things that you can do to make your interview process better. Let's start with some weaknesses. We're human. We all have biases. So bias is the first weakness. Maybe we think personality is more important than technical skills for the people that we're interviewing, or maybe we don't care about the person's personality that much, or how well they're going to get along with others. Maybe we just want to know how well they can do the specific tasks that we're hiring them for. Nothing's wrong with either approach, except that alone, they're only part of the whole picture. Like it or not, both the technical skills of the individual and the personality characteristics and how well they're going to get along in our culture, how well they're going to get along with other employees, it's part of the whole picture, and we are hiring that whole person. We're hiring their personality and we're hiring their technical skills. So bias can limit whether we get the full picture or whether we focus on one or two specific elements. The second weakness here is called inter-rater reliability. That's a technical term. It means that when interviews are more subjective, which they often are, different interviewers will come away from those interviews with different results. One interviewer may love the personality of the person, may really have connected with them and want to hire them. Another interviewer may see the exact same person, the exact same personality, and come away not feeling that they're the best one for the job. So this consistency among interviewers, that's another weakness of the standard interviewer. The lack of subjective or objective scoring means that for most interviews, you have some questions. Maybe the questions are in your head. Maybe you've got them written down. You ask the questions. The candidate answers the questions, and you write down the answers. And then you'll evaluate them later to decide whether it's a good answer or a bad answer, and then make your decision there. This is not fair, it's not consistent, and it's not objective at all. So that's another weakness of the interview. So what are some advantages of interviews? First, there's an opportunity for you as the interviewer to ask detailed questions and for the interviewee to give detailed answers. You're going to get much more of a perspective off the interview than you would off of, say, a questionnaire or an application or a resume. It's an opportunity to make things clear. It's an opportunity to talk things through. And that's really the purpose of an interview. If you're conducting an interview and you're the type of person that just wants short, straightforward answers, then probably the interview process isn't a good fit for you. The purpose of an interview is to get as much rich detail about that person as you can so that you can make the best decision. Number two, there's a high response rate. Let's face it, if you had, say, 50 candidates, you sent them 50 questionnaires, if that's going to be your interview style, you might get 10, 12 back. That's not a great response rate. But let's face it, every interview you have, you're going to get answers from that person. So high response rate. Flexibility, or what we call the semi-structured. So you have set questions, let's say, but you have the opportunity to ask additional questions if you need to clarify the answers you're being given or to get more details, a better understanding of that candidate. That's a great opportunity in interviews. And there are nonverbal cues. Now, this can be facial expressions. This can be if you ask the candidate a question, are they looking to the left or are they looking to the right when they consider their answers? And there's significance to either one. So the nonverbal cues can give you a better understanding, and you're not going to get that as much through a video interview, let's say, definitely not through a written questionnaire. So the ultimate question, the bottom line is, should you use interviews in your candidate selection process? Yes or no? Ultimately, it's your choice. More than likely, you're going to use them. They're very common. They can be effective if done right. So if you're going to use interviews, I have 3 suggestions, 3 pieces of advice that I'll give you. Number 1, train your interviewers on how to interview. If you need help, find an outside consultant. If you don't have someone within your organization who can train people how to do interviews properly. Number 2, create standard interview questions for each position and a list of the top 3 answers that you'd like to hear. Assign a score to each answer. The best answer maybe is 10 points. The middle answer, let's say 5, and the least favorite answer is 3. And then you score the interviewee depending on how closely they come to one of those 3 answers. Of course, if their answer is totally off base, doesn't come even close to any of the answers you're looking for, the score on that question is 0. When you're done, you add up the score, and the candidate with the highest score is likely a good fit. Not guaranteed. There's other things that come into play, but it's a good strategy. If you go off script, this is number 3, if you go off script in your interview, work with your consultant or HR department to produce a way to score those types of answers. This keeps it objective, it keeps it fair, and it keeps it consistent from one candidate to the next. So that's my response to the question. If you still have additional questions, if you need help, feel free to reach out to me. I will respond as fast as I can. You can go to my website, or my direct email is also listed on this slide. I hope this was helpful. If so, have a great day. Have a great day, even if it wasn't helpful, and we'll talk to you later.